Holy shit. I saw the triple Scart and I thought, well, that's got to be something special, and look what it is, a Metz. Unbelievable to find them in my hometown. Looking at the Metz closer, it's been fairly beaten up, so I don't think it's going to be salvageable. We'll have a look at the model number when we go around the back. Metz 72TD85 Stratos-SF 100 will be 100 Hz like many Metzes are, and again there's the back with the triple Scart, stereo output and all sorts of bits and pieces, so a pity but very unusual find around here indeed. Are you scared? I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen here. I've put a new power cord on this Metz. It had its cord cut and it's been trampled around this Metz a bit, I tell you. It's pretty rough. So I've got a new power cord on it. It's plugged into the power. It's not turned on at the point yet. It may not be turned on at the button over there either. I'm going to do it. Bugger it. Ooh, shit. Ooh, shit. It's got power. So it's got power in the cable running to the TV. But this switch is going to further test things a bit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I think. Oh, fuck. Oh, it's got some life. Holy shit. I'm scared. Oi! Bloody hell, it lives. For now. For now. Oi! We don't know what's going on here. We just don't know. Yeah. Wowzers. I don't know what's going on here, mate. I don't know if we're fully working or what. But I'm just going to turn it off. Oh, geez, so the Metz lives miraculously. I must get this footage on camera while it still lives in case it does die. While the back's off, I'll film it. We've got a Phillips tube, no surprise, A68 ESF 002X43, made in France. I'd like a date. I'd like a date with a woman, but I'd like a date of manufacture. Maybe we'll see it, but I'm not going to venture too close because the thing's live, dusty, dirty. Look at that for a bird's nest. Germans have this reputation for over-engineering. It looks pretty unsightly with all those cables like that, and it's not something that I've done. A lot of PCBs. I'm going to have to go around to the other side, point the camera in. Over on the other side, we've got the flyback and adjustment knobs on it. Now, there are in here somewhere some reefer caps that, I can see it down in the front, but it's probably too dark to pick up. They're on the AC line early in the circuit, and they're supposed to be there partly for fire protection, yet they're the thing that causes the fires the most in my experience, so I don't know what the go is like that. It's a bit like having a COVID jab. It's meant to stop COVID, but it seems everyone still gets COVID. This little cable here is connected to the back shell of the TV, where the subwoofer is. Speaking of, hey, while I notice it, look at that little, must be like a little tiny little tweeter. I've never seen one that small. Might be a tweeter, might be a mid, and the sub's in the back shell. That's why it's so heavy. I'll take you over to the back shell, wherever it went. Oh, it's out here on the lawn. Here's the back shell, and there's the sub. Right there you can see the speaker in the top and the connector to connect back on. The Stratos debuted in 1997. It was Metz's top-of-the-range 4:3 aspect ratio CRT television, second in rank only to the Atlantis, which is the wide version of the Stratos. It uses a semi-flat 4:3 aspect ratio tube. It's not quite perfectly flat. This is the matching remote, the Metz RE11. It's in the wrong colour, but that doesn't matter. It gives full functionality, and that's the most important thing. You can see 100 Hz printed under the Metz logo. Metz started employing 100 Hz processing back in 1990, very early. I think Sony was late 80s, they introduced 100 Hz processing on some televisions. I've cleaned up the television, it's got a few splotches of like an oil or something on it. Got the blue scuff marks off the screen. There are some scratches on the tube, but that won't matter. This is the big power button. The flap on the front is missing, that would normally cover all of that bottom display. The headphone jack is actually the 6.35mm type. One of these big boys. So I can put that in there, and I've adapted it to that smaller 3.5mm size. Some button volume up, down, and P or F for function. S video input, composite input, and stereo left and right. Above that is a dot matrix display screen which will announce what channel you're on and basic things like that. That's the flashiness of Metz Stratos. Going around the back, fairly bulging back section. There's our label as we saw earlier. Important chassis 696G1. 240 volts. Don't see it being made in Germany there, but it's printed elsewhere. Further down we go. There's our made in Germany. A couple of speaker connection points. There's a service socket, 4-pin DIN. Later they would move on to a 9-pin D-sub connector for servicing firmware updates. Audio out, I would imagine left and right. Got 2 antenna sockets. Then the all-important Scart big triple whammy, triple Scart Metz stacked style. Scart 1 will take RGB. Scart 2 will take S-video but no RGB. And Scart 3 will also take RGB. We also have some cutouts ready for more expansions. The Europeans, the Germans were particularly into satellite receivers and various cards to expand and make compatible with various services, and Metz is certainly no stranger to that. AWA were the company that distributed Metz in Australia. This is a letter I got from AWA back in 1999. I inquired about some information on Metz televisions and they sent me this letter with some brochures, and I'm going to show you inside those brochures now. This is the 1998 TV and video Metz catalogue. I'll quickly go through this. A lot of different colours available on the television sets. That is on the casing. This is the Atlantis television. This is the top of the range for the year. This is the widescreen version of the Stratos that I have. Going over to the next page. Here it is. Here's the Stratos. Here's what we're talking about today. I suppose I can't hide it anymore, but the Stratos and the Atlantis that we just saw are part of the Vario line that's described here on the left. It's a color coordination or color choosing program. You can choose the panels to the color that you like and make the combination that you want. And I think it's something like 30,000 or 36,000 different combinations are possible if you really want to go as far as making it into a rainbow. But so rare to see these in the wild, or any of these color custom designed televisions in the wild. Metz Mondial, that's their big one, 80 centimeter. Metz, what's this, the classic, rotation 35 degrees each way. For instance, it can be subsequently fitted with a VGA connection so that the television can be used as a personal computer monitor now. I think Metz underplay their VGA capabilities, and we'll go into a bit of that a bit more as we go on. But a huge range of 68 centimeter televisions, most of which are 100 Hz. Beautiful walnut cabinet on that one. On the Elba, nut brown. And there are your little TVs, and most of those weren't 100 Hz. VCRs. More VCRs. And then we get an idea. There's a picture of Windows 98 or 95. The Metz, bear with me here, Metz VGA retrofit transforms all Metz 100 Hz televisions with a 696 chassis into a computer monitor in VGA standards. So as we saw on the back of the Stratos, it is that chassis, 696. VGA cards operate with a line frequency, The VGA retrofit kit transmits the signal supplied by the PC graphics card for presentation of the picture to the television. And on it goes. So we're going to test that. And I've got a feeling, I'm reasonably confident that the Stratos is VGA capable, and we will explore that to the maximum we can. Get to the back, get to the specs. Get to the specs, there's the glossary of all the terms. Get to the back. Here we go. Picture technology. There's all the 100 Hz ones, and that corresponds down here with PC connection VGA standard. So all the 100 Hz models are VGA capable. There you go. There's Metz's factory in Germany. And they also specialise in lights as well. It's not over yet, however, it's not over yet. There's another catalogue that focuses specifically on the Varioline. That's the Atlantis and the Stratos, the flagships, and the colour coordination that you can do. So there's a couple of things to make note of here. These televisions, the Stratos and Atlantis, designed by Ito Design. If you look up Ito Design, they're still in business, and they actually have a history of products of what they've designed over the years. And also you see the signature, the name, Sander. Well, that's the founder of this Ito Design, and you can see his picture on their website right now. Let's have a look through some of the products they've made. Perhaps Ito's first product, a tobacco pipe. Moving on, Playmobil, remember that? That was cool stuff as a kid. They designed that one. 1991 Kyocera computer, that'd be worth a few dollars. Moving on, Flash. A Flash from Metz. The Metz is coming, and then in 97 the Varioline, so it all corroborates with one another. Continuing in the catalogue, there's the big wide Atlantis. Talking more about it, this is a fold out catalogue, so beautiful, beautiful catalogue. That might be the Stratos there. And that folds out like such. Talks about the features. Look at this. Variable configuration with 2 plug-in card slots. Computer VGA connection also possible. Oh, the possibilities are exciting. And there's the colour combinations that are possible. Look at this. E.g. RAL colour scale car paint. So it must use some standard of car paint colouring to choose from. More than 40 colours available. There's the stand for these TVs, at least for the. There we go once again. See these 3 buttons labelled A, B, and C. Those 3 buttons are programmable. You can bring up a list in the Metz, a long list of functions the TV can do, and assign those functions to each of those buttons, essentially making some shortcut keys. To program the shortcut keys, press menu, then press red for equipment configuration, then press blue for function keys. Here's the list. I can assign any of those to the A, B, and C buttons. If you have never driven or controlled a Metz television or a Loewe television, you may be in for a shock. The menu system is quite complex by 1990s standard. It is very configurable, which makes it complicated, and it's also difficult to navigate. Rather than menus branching and being controlled by the arrows on your remote, they're not really controlled by the up, down, left, right arrows. It's more by coloured buttons. So we can go into audio with yellow and video with blue and so on. Add to that, the television doesn't really have a source button on the remote, a way to toggle through AV1, AV2, or Scart 1 if it was named that, Scart 2, Scart 3 and the front inputs. Rather, you have to assign the values yourself. You can name them, you assign which socket is on which channel, and which signal goes into each socket. Now that may sound rather confusing because it is. So I'll start with equipment configuration by pushing the red button, device connection. You can see that I press blue and I go to Euro 1. Interestingly, it's labelled as PC, but we'll come back to that. I'm going to name it game. I'm going to put in a game. and then the type of video signal, which I've got to change to. So it's given me a choice of composite, RGB and S-video. Of course, it's going to be RGB. And for yellow, no RGB on this particular socket, on Scart socket 2. I'll take the next best thing and I'll go with S-video. Scart 3's also RGB already set to go. Front, it says PC, just ignore that. I'm still working on trying to get the VGA going. And I will rename it game. Right, so that's fine, that's fine. That's now told the television I want these signals to be accepted in these particular sockets. But you've got to assign a channel. Station settings I've got to go to now. So this is going to TV station table. And I've assigned channel 0 as Scart 1. Channel 1 is Scart 2, channel 2 is Scart 3, and then the front connections is channel 3. I know it sounds confusing, but believe me, it is. I'm going to go onto the NES now. We'll come back to the menu system. I don't want to bombard you with too much of this menu stuff right now because it's a lot to take in, but we're going to put the NES on, the NES, PAL via Composite, and do a gun test. NES is on. I'm going to boost the color up. What you can do to get to picture settings is push the blue button and you can quickly adjust here luminance, which is what they're calling brightness. I'll just duck it down a bit more. Black's a black there at that point. Contrast at 85, and I'll leave it there at 85. Chrominance color, I think I'll boost up a little bit. Get that brown on Super Mario Brothers a bit more boosted. Sharpness, I'm not a big fan of sharpness. Take that down, so that's what we've got. How are we going to go here? 100 Hz television shouldn't work. Interesting, isn't it? That responded correctly first shot when I pointed it at the screen. Hit and miss. Curiously, the Stratos is perhaps one 100 Hz television that almost works with the gun. It's not displaying that right now, but you saw a couple of shots actually hit, and earlier on I actually had quite a number of ducks shot. But no, that's not working. You want to see something crazy? Whoa, you press A, it does this double zoom. And further to that, there's a button that will switch on and off the comb filter. On, off, look closely at the edges. See how they change? Comb filter on, comb filter off. Go back to regular, you can still use that comb filter. So it makes the edges a little different. Let's play Mario. So I can see the bricks at the bottom are a little bit fuzzy on the movement. That's typically what happens with 100 Hz processing. I've got to say though, this TV has probably some of the least amount of artifacts exhibited by the 100 Hz. So it's actually pretty good by 100 Hz standards. Okay, let's move on to the Saturn with S-video via the front, and perhaps also by Scart 2 to confirm that it works. Sega Saturn running via S-video. It's plugged into the front of the television into the 4-pin DIN. The S-video, it's not running S-video into the back of the TV, which I will try next in Scart 2. If you're in black and white in this situation now, what you would do is go to station settings, then go to TV station table. Then you've got to, I'm on here, channel 3. That's what I've assigned to the front connectors. just out of sight down the bottom. What I have to do is press the red button to go to further settings. And then over here, I've got to push that white standard button on the remote, this white one, to get into the standard. So I've got it set at NTSC. Go to SECAM, of course it's not going to work. Go to PAL, once we get picture back from the console, or maybe we won't. Automatic, I'll just leave it on automatic, it'll adjust to whatever it gets. So that will get us into colour, if you're not already in colour on NTSC. I can confirm NTSC S-Video works in Scart Socket 2, as we see in front of us right now. I've noticed on the Street Fighter 2 logo on the reds that there is a little bit of crawling on the edges of the text. It doesn't appear on, say, Street Fighter 2 Champion or Turbo. It's just on the edges. Can you see that a little bit? Can you see that now? That red fluttering? Like the lights on an 80s boombox with an equalizer moving up and down. I'm going to put the Saturn into RGB in Scart 1 now and see if that problem still persists. Saturn's running via RGB in Scart 1. There's no longer any crawling, any red crawling in RGB. We can even still zoom in, get that close up. Comb filter doesn't make any difference in RGB. At least we're not getting any of that crawling on the edges anymore. So RGB is a big improvement on picture quality. Of course it is, but you don't get that, probably that processing artifact like you do in Composite and S-Video. Changing game, we'll go to Sonic 2. We're in a high resolution at the moment. We've got the interlaced jitters, which is correct, which is normal. The processing hasn't removed it. I'm putting on Sonic, so I've got something that's fast moving, which tests 100 Hz processing. Back into low resolution, standard resolution, 240p. Looks pretty nice. Okay. Could do with a bit more centering the picture. I'll have to see if I can get into the service menu. But I can see it to the naked eye that when it goes sideways at pace, it does look pretty sort of blurry. It's a bit like those bricks on Mario, Super Mario Brothers at the bottom, but a bit more pronounced. It's not as clear as a 50 or 60 Hertz RGB picture in movement. A little fuzzy here with the Metz, not surprisingly, but better than some, better than some. By the way, I'll show you one other little thing while I think of it. Going into the menu system, then equipment configuration, then further, some other changes I haven't shown you yet. RGB priority. Basically, if your SCART cable's wired, so that when you turn on your appliance, it'll change to that channel automatically, or theoretically it will. I'm going to stick with no, because I just prefer it that way in this situation. To get the television into service mode, it's not too hard to do. Keep the power on at the wall. Make sure the Metz is plugged into the wall and the power's on there, but turn it off. Turn it off at the button at the Metz, so the light goes out. Then hold on the television, as you can see, minus and plus together, minus and plus volume. Hold them, keep holding them. Press the power button on the television. Still holding. Still holding. It's all turning on. Keep holding. Wait a couple more seconds. There we are, in the service menu. Very flash. TV service menu version 5.2. Right, I'm going to start with blue button, peak white level, color offset. I don't want to change too much in here. Let's push the green and go into this picture geometry test pattern adjustment. Yes, yes please. Look at this. Not too many televisions that have a test pattern built into them. Now I can change vertical position by the look of it, but what else can I do? I'm pushing other buttons on the remote. Oh, there we go. Push horizontal. Wow. Picture width. Why is it so Like maybe we've got an issue with the TV. It's a bit folded around on the sides there, but it's not as pronounced as that. East-west curve, east-west trapezium, corner correction above, below, vertical linearity, vertical angle, vertical bow, vertical S correction. So we've got quite a lot that are available in there. Let's go back out. No, I don't want to store. Hang on. Go into the blue. Basic geometry values VGA. Man, this keeps teasing me, this VGA business. Menu. VT service menu. Adjust menu position. EEPROM initializing. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be erasing any of those things. Channel pattern Europe. Australia. Isn't that odd that it wasn't on Australia to begin with? I'll just leave it as Europe. I don't want to change my settings elsewhere. What else can we get into? Adjust menu position. Okay. Right, so you can see there's a fair bit in there. I think to get out without turning the TV off and on, you can push TV. Yeah, just push TV on the remote and you'll exit out of the service menu. I've been trying to get VGA working on this television for ages. I've been building different cables, trying the different sockets in the back of the television. I cannot get it, and this thing has PC written all over it. Equipment configuration, further, program change settings. Look at this, no sound on PC, 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 PC. Here we are in the station table. Watch this, I press red for further. Front, VGA. VGA PC, like this thing's got VGA everywhere and I still can't get it to work. Even when you put it into this PC mode, this supposed VGA mode, you get the 3 red, green, blue lines at the top of the screen, the beginning of the raster. That only shows when you put it onto PC mode. But I've tried it, Dreamcast, Xbox 360, I've wired it up in different ways. I still can't get it to go. We're coming to a close, folks. The end is drawing near. Spent a lot of time on this television. Spent a lot of time on it. It's quite jank, that's what I would say, but I love it. I love it in the sense that it's got nooks and crannies and it's unusual and it's different, but really without getting the VGA active, I can't judge the true potential of the television. Now it looks quite nice here as we see it, so it wouldn't be the worst television in the world to have to run RGB, that's for sure, but if you really want the best, you'd get something without 100 Hertz. And to get the best out of this television, you'd want to go through the VGA. Now VGA on Metz's, from my research, typically goes through the Scart socket. They don't appear to ever use a DB15, not as far as I can tell. Metz have a special cable, part of their kit, that appears to be a VGA to Scart cable that you hook up whatever device, your computer, your Dreamcast, your Xbox 360. It is available, or was available, it'd be impossible to get now. There is talk on forums about various chassis and some need firmware updates to get things working. By all accounts, this thing looks like it can run VGA, but I just can't quite get it over the edge. So if any viewers know how to get VGA operational on older Metzes like this is 1997, 1998, please tell me. I'm just happy we got to the end of the video, at least with a working television, because the red light on the front was flashing yesterday and it did turn on straight away, and I thought, well, we're in deep crap here, it's not going to turn on anymore, but it has. It's made it to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I'm glad I could show you the Metz. It's rare to get them, so if you see any Metz, please save them. Please save them. They're so rare. Please save them. And they were producing CRTs till 2007, 2008. They still had them going. So if you see one, please grab it. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's been a long video. I've put a lot of effort into it, and I thank you for your patronage over the years. Until next time, see you next time.